Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Lil Brunson back at you with the back at you, and I am the best reporting on the Eagles. Before we get into the meat and potatoes, I gotta let you know that this video was brought to you by Print Champs. Big Print Champs in the building. You know what we do, man. We bring you everything: ski masks, Howie shirts, her season hats, all of that stuff, man. Make sure you tap in. Stay in tune, stay in step with the movement. You know the rules, man. So listen, man. The press conference was today. Nick Sirianni spoke. They were as candid as possible, in my opinion. They took a lot of accountability. They took a lot of responsibility for some of the things that we didn't like this season as Philadelphia Eagles fans. And, just like I suspected, I think a lot of people owe Howie Roseman an apology because, the main thing that I took from this was, who was the catalyst in making some of these decisions in terms of, where the defense, the defensive coordinator being let go in the middle of the season. I just knew certain things had Nick Sirianni's fingerprints on them because Nick Sirianni just strikes me as a panicker. You know what I mean? In certain situations. So I knew that the side being, replaced midway through the season or in December, I knew that had Nick Sirianni, all written over it, just like I suspect the Brian Johnson thing had Nick Sirianni all written over it. Now I'm not saying those guys deserved another chance, but let's be clear, Nick Sirianni, let his coordinators go, decided to save his own skin, bring some new coordinators in. And from the press conference, honestly, it sounds like that Nick Sirianni is falling back as far as he can possibly fall back while still remaining the head coach. He alluded to things like, I'm not going to spend so much time with the offense in meetings. I'm not going to spend so much time with the defense in meetings. I'm not going to spend so much time with the special teams in meetings. I'm going to be all over the place because I am the head coach of the football team. My job is to be the head coach of the football team. So Nick is washing his hands over the responsibilities moving forward for the offensive and the defensive side of the ball. He is just there to oversee it. And I think that is the perfect role for Nick Sirianni, to oversee it. You know what I mean? And some rumors that the Philadelphia Eagles might be going after one Vic Fangio. A lot of people don't understand, the influence of Vic Fangio, for real. Vic Fangio is a very influential defensive coordinator. He's popular for a lot of things. And I think that, a lot of his disciples have made their rounds around the NFL and kind of watered down exactly what he's famous for or popular for. So in short, I'd rather have the guy who innovated the scheme, created the scheme, than one of his pupils who learned the scheme and try to put their own twist on it and failed somewhere else. The Vic Fangio coaching tree is deep. You know what I mean? But let's talk a little bit about Vic Fangio and what he really does. Fangio's scheme and influence. So how does Vic Fangio's defense work? Well, when you look at his background and the best players he's helped coached, it's clear where the defense starts, the middle. Well, it's not the linebackers that make the defense tick, though they are critical. They are critical. Fangio's scheme is known by many as the too-high safety scheme, meaning that the standard defense can roll and disguise a multitude of packages. As he puts it, and I quote, try to make it harder for them to figure out what coverage we're in, both before snap and after the snap. The point of the defense is to keep the offense guessing. Rely on the playmakers on defense to make plays, primarily the two hybrid safeties. Both need to not only help cover the pass, but also support the run due to the lighter box and less blitzes as such. They almost become akin to smaller linebackers. So you got to have linebackers, in a way that can, move freely, that can cover and can tackle. Due to the thin stretching of these safeties, the defense must be totally in sync and ready to pick up the slack when needed. This may sound like a gamble, but the scheme's flexibility shifts into other looks and formations to lessen the odds of big plays. If this sort of defense sounds familiar, it's because it is fairly cemented in the NFL right now. The main teams using it now are the Miami Dolphins, Green Bay Packers with Joe Barry, who just got let go, and the Los Angeles Chargers with Brandon Staley. While other coaches like Jonathan Gannon of the Philadelphia Eagles and now Arizona Cardinals use the scheme similar as principle. So this article that I'm reading from was at the beginning of the season of Jonathan Gannon's, I think, first tenure with the Philadelphia Eagles, when they talked about how great, the two high safety look would look if it's done right. You know what I mean? So, when you talk about, Joe Barry and how the Green Bay Packers were able to basically throttle the Dallas Cowboys defense with the too high safety look in this year playoffs, that's what they're talking about. You know what I mean? Vic Fangio, it was an article that came out that said he was the most influential DC in the modern NFL, as they dove into his system. They got the Fangio shell, which primarily consists of, base cover 6 packages and combo coverages, cover 4s, designated strong side, a cover 4 with a cloud will be on the strong side, and a cover 2 to the weak side. The strong side is usually the side with more immediate threats. And there's several examples of Fangio showing you a too high safety look, but when the ball snaps, it's a different coverage. Like they were able here to successfully run a too high safety look, but run a cloud to the side of the immediate threat, which is Jamar Chase on this play. So the call would go something like Zeus 1. You know what I mean? Like cloud number 1, cloud Jamar Chase. And they successfully were able to do that in a multitude of situations. One of the key features of Fangio's defense is how everything looks similar before the snap. Similar to what I was alluding to having Jalen Hurts under the center. How things look the same from under center, but defenses have to guess. Both safeties align deep, and usually one or both corners play off to the middle, off to the line of scrimmage. I'm sorry. So it looks like cover 4 across the board or cover 6, making it difficult for quarterbacks to identify the coverage. Figuring out the coverage before the snap informs quarterbacks where they should look first and how to progress from read to read. We all know that. Making the coverage look the same puts more pressure on the quarterback to compute more information after the snap, especially if your, front 4 is getting home. So, there's several examples of, Fangio showing a too high safety look with it changing to cover 1 once the ball is snapped. You know what I mean? A cover 4 shell, he showed a too high safety look and it ended up being a shell coverage, protecting everything deep. So, I really, listen, in a nutshell, like I said, I'd rather have the guy, who created the system versus, a pupil that tried to learn the system and said, well, I'm going to take from Vic Fangio and add this or add that. It was a mutual parting of ways for Fangio and the Miami Dolphins, which leads me to believe that Fangio really wants to be here. And we've been trying to get him for a couple years now. So I'm not opposed to this. I don't feel bad about this. I like this actually a little more than I like Ron Rivera, because Fangio was going to do what we all been wanting, defensive coordinators to do, is to disguise coverages. If he's able to, implement some blitzes here and there, I think that this defense could get back to where we want it to be. So I'm not opposed to this. Nothing official has been made on who the guy is, but I'm happy. I'm cool if it's Vic Fangio. You know what I mean? I'd rather have, Mr. Miyagi than Daniel's son. Let me know what you think in the comments.